Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Will Spalding, and as always, I am joined by the legend and perfect speaker himself, Sam Dierberger. Sam, what's going on?
Oh my God, that's a title I don't know if I can live up to.
Well, perfect speaker, I would say you are.
Perfect speaker. I have a tendency to trip over my words sometimes. That happens occasionally. But I would say I'm bad about 500 when it comes to public speaking.
Hey, in baseball, you'd be one of the best.
In baseball, I would be a true legend. I mean,
yeah,
500 career. Yeah, I don't know. What's new with you? How's your week going?
Good, man. NBA season starts tonight. I got the Nets and Bucks game on in the background here, so it's everything's coming up, Will, right now. Basketball's back. That's what's important.
In some ways, that's all that is important.
Absolutely.
Although lately, it does sometimes feel like the NBA season, even as a casual fan, the NBA season seems to last
10 months.
Quite long. About 10 months. Yeah. Same with hockey, really.
Yeah.
The winter sports up there in the
they go from October to last NBA went to July.
Right.
Early July. So there you go. 10 months. That's good. Yeah. Well, Sam, we've gotten way off track already. As per our lawyers' arrangements.
That's right.
What exactly are we talking this week?
Well, this week we're talking The Last Duel.
And then was judged and shamed by my country. I say before all of you, I spoke the truth.
Ooh, spoke the truth. Sam, we can get into all that concerning The Last Duel in just a little bit. But before that, we can hit some of our pre-review segments. Did you have any industry news for the week, Sam?
Well, there's a few things. We had a slate of pushbacks by Disney, which ordinarily I wouldn't care about, but included in the bunch is a film that's very near and dear to my heart. And I'm talking, of course, about Ant-Man the Wasp, which has been pushed back to July 20th, 2023. I was absolutely dismayed.
I did not expect that at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you were texting me that day. You were so bummed. And I will say, one too many curse words, Sam. Come on. I mean,
a few too many curse words, perhaps. I was just very upset about this.
I get it.
I'm like, July 2023, is that a real, destination? Can I even make it that long?
I doubt it.
Probably not. No, I talk seriously about the still untitled Indiana Jones 5, which has been pushed back to June 30th, 2023. This makes it, I think, the 5th time that Indy 5 has been pushed back, and I am
Oh my gosh.
utterly dismayed about it. Although it does make sense because Harrison Ford just spent the summer in a sling, literally with his arm in a sling.
Yep.
Because he decided he wanted to do a fist fight scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're actually filming. We're getting photos on set. And there's a few different things, there's a few different fan theories that are floating through the interwebs that have some interesting discussion attached to them, but I won't bore you with the details. So anyway, that is incredibly disappointing.
You know, it's interesting, Sam, that you say that it's been delayed like five, 6 times, whatever. I remember this was probably about a decade ago now. I vividly remember sitting in an Applebee's parking lot with my father after we had just finished eating, discussing Indiana Jones 5 and how it was coming out. And I just thought, man, is Harrison Ford just too old at this point? And this is like a decade ago. I kid you not. And it's crazy that we're here. And my 10-year-old self, congratulations. You were right. He probably is too old because he was in a sling for 3 months. But we're getting it. We're getting it anyway. So
He was too old 10 years ago. It's like, but I will say some of the set photos do look awesome. He is 79 years old, but he's in great shape for 79-year-old. You know, he's trekking out in the Italian mountains. You know,
well, Into the Wild really helped him out.
It's Into the Wild. You know, it's like let's cast Harrison Ford. Oh, isn't he like 76, 77? It's like, yeah, we'll just we won't have to leave the studio. No, it was just just put him in front of a green screen, have him row the boat. You know.
I thought it was kind of funny when they announced Indiana Jones 5, and I thought, well, there's not a 4th one. And then I remembered, oh, right, Into the Wild. Yep. Okay. I'm here. I'm with you now. That was the 4th. Yep. Okay.
That was the 4th one.
Yeah. And Shia LaBeouf reprising his role as well. He, of course, being the sled dog.
The sled dog. Yes, absolutely. What's his name? What's the dog's name?
Bernard. I don't know.
Bernard. Shia LaBeouf, the Bernard. He has so many tattoos on his body that he is now indistinguishable from a common Alaskan sled dog.
Really not good though. Really not good. Man, we're so off track in this episode. I only have really kind of one brief thing to say, Sam.
Sure.
In regards to industry news.
Yeah.
We got a little look at or another look, I suppose, at Batman. I know we had talked a little bit about Batman on this show. Maybe 6 months ago or so. Did you see this?
I did.
Does it look cool to you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's it looks basically like an extension of that first teaser trailer we got. I don't know, back in, what was that, like back in March now?
I'm thinking.
It's very much in line with that teaser. Obviously a lot bigger. We see some better looks at the villains. Paul Dano, probably one of the most underrated actors of our time.
Oh yeah,
playing
he's
the
awesome.
Riddler, and Colin Farrell as the Penguin. It looks great. It really looks good. Like I think we heard for the first time, really, we heard Robert Pattinson's Batman voice, and it seems like he's going for the Christian Bale style, gruff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's
I
what
don't have any
people are used to.
opposition to that, but I trust with what the passion that Matt Reeves has for the series, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that first trailer looked good. This looked cool too. So yeah, I'm interested.
On the topic of trailers, real quick though, I saw Halloween Kills on Friday, and that was a pretty bad movie, but pretty entertaining
Yeah, fun. Yeah, I gotcha.
evening. Theater, but yeah, it's fun. You know, body count's probably 60 plus. And
Oh my goodness, you're kidding.
no, I'm not joking.
Oh
I'm
my
not joking.
gosh, I haven't seen this, but holy smoke.
I don't think that's spoiling anything because Michael is just murdering people the entire time.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
start to finish, it's just straight murder.
Holy
Like,
crap. Wow. Oh my gosh.
and incredibly gory too. One of easily in the top 10 most gory films I've ever seen in my life.
Good grief. Wow. Okay.
They really went for it. Yeah. Extremely creative, grotesque kills.
Okay. Interesting.
But anyway, that was not my point at all. I saw there's this production movie which I was not thus far aware of, and this movie, The Black Phone, with Ethan Hawke.
Oh boy. Yeah.
This trailer terrified me.
Terrible. And terrible, dude.
Yeah. But it was terrifying, right? It was like a little movie all in itself.
I saw that trailer too. Actually, a decent trailer that will result in a horrible, horrible movie. That movie will be really bad. But yes, you're right. Trailer was absolutely horrifying. Yeah. Interesting you brought that up. Will you see that, Sam?
I will.
Okay. At first, I was like, is that Ethan Hawke? And then because he kind of had the mask on, whatnot, but
Right.
yeah, interesting.
Right.
That movie won't be good. I know that for a fact, but
Well, no, my problem with the trailer was that it reveals so much of the plot of the film.
yeah, it could have been a short film. Yeah, you're
that
right.
You could almost see the start, finish, and ending. But there was something just so absolutely terrifying about the kid walking down the street and then Ethan Hawke coming out of nowhere and saying, "I am a part-time magician," and then snatching the kid and putting him in a basement cellar. Like, oh my God, that's so terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, that kind of that's sticking with me for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I might give that movie a shot too. We'll see. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Finally, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got the first short little teaser for a little movie starring Denzel and Francis.
You know, oddly, we have 2 teasers now.
Is that the second? I thought we just saw some images before.
No. It's really weird what they're doing. The first one was a 45-second trailer, much more in the vein. No, sorry. The first one was 56 seconds. This new one that just came out is 44 seconds. So it's like they released the main trailer before the teaser. And neither of them tell us much. I mean, it's Macbeth, obviously. Like,
yeah, it's mostly just like 2-second clips of people doing stuff.
Yeah, yeah, you know, it looks phenomenal.
Great. Yeah, it like just purely visual, it looks awesome.
Yeah. I think Francis is really just perfect for the role of Lady Macbeth. I think I just think it's phenomenal casting. But I don't know, we shall see. Christmas.
Yeah, that'll be a Christmas one. We have we have that and Don't Look Up on the same day. That's a treat.
Oh, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little Apple Plus and a little Netflix. So fire up the old streaming after unboxing some presents.
Put down some eggnog.
Yeah. Yeah, and then take a nap.
Take a long nap.
Yeah. That's all I had, Sam, for industry news. If we unless you have anything else, do we want to get into the Last Duel?
Yeah, let's get into the Last Duel.
The most unspeakable charge has been brought against you.
Jacques Legris entered our home. He attacked me.
The accusation is false. I am telling the truth.
The truth does not matter. There is only the power of men.
It should be settled quietly. I'm innocent! I request a duel to the death.
If you lose, your wife will suffer dire consequences.
Yeah, man. The Last Duel. I just want to start off by saying that it was really great to see a movie that was almost a I hesitate to say the word blockbuster, but blockbuster for adults. This obviously, maybe we can talk about this. I mean, this did terrible at the box office, so that's why it's not a blockbuster, obviously. But
right.
But a big budget movie that doesn't have superheroes or princesses in them, which was nice. It was cool to see. It was cool to see something like that. We don't get this kind of movie a lot, Sam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's this is we talked about this genre about 2 months ago now with the release of the Green Knight, the Green Knight is obviously much more supernatural than the Last Duel, same approximate time period, but the Green Knight is extremely visual storytelling, and with the Last Duel we get something that there's visual storytelling involved, and the movie does look good. It's just incredibly grayscale, incredibly dull looking, because and that's on purpose. It's to make us feel the time period, feel the medieval vibe, which is why medieval period pieces have never really appealed to me. I just think it's kind of a boring time in history, kind of a or a boring time to set a movie, not a boring time in history, I should say. And so that's why, anyway, in a roundabout way, that I went into the Last Duel with not much anticipation,
Hesitance, yeah,
not a whole lot of excitement. I think you were probably a lot more excited for this film than I was.
Oh man, I was pumped for this movie.
Yeah. That's kind of where I started with it. Why were you enthralled with this movie to begin with?
Like I had said, this type of movie is something we don't get often.
Mm-hmm.
I was interested by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck writing again. They haven't done that together since they won an Oscar, so that was certainly interesting. And being very odd subject material to go from, I know Good Will Hunting was literally a lifetime ago, but to go from a really emotional drama about a kid trying to find out what he's made for to a medieval sword and battle movie. So yeah, I guess just a combo of everything there. Great cast. Ridley Scott is cool and has made a lot of great movies, even a few as of recent, even despite his growing age. So I guess just a lot of factors played into to my curiosity of this movie. Curiosity which paid off. I'll just give my general thoughts too. This movie rules, I think. I saw this one in theaters and just had a blast watching it, which I honestly wasn't sure. Sam, you mentioned that this time period can sometimes be boring for you. I thought this movie was extremely entertaining, to me at least. I went with a few friends who were less enthralled and maybe slightly confused than I was, but I was glued to the screen the whole time, and just had so much fun watching it. Odd to say fun with this subject matter, because there were a lot of intense, tough scenes to watch too, which played to how effective this movie was done. But yeah, we get a lot of great performances here. You mentioned this in your written review, Sam, but Jody Comer, this woman's a movie star in the making. I don't want to say she's acting circles around people, but man, she's good in this. And yeah,
She comes close. I mean, the thing about, well, first of all, I wasn't really aware of her prior to seeing this. She had a small part in Rise of Skywalker, which don't remember who she was.
She's Rey's mother.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She is in it for literally, I don't know, 2 minutes or something.
Yeah. I was just looking at her casting list. She's also in this new movie Free Guy that came out 2 months ago that I've yet to see.
Let me tell you, she's the best part of that movie too.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, interesting. What I'm shocked by, this is really the interesting thing. This woman is only 28 years old. That's what I'm shocked by, and it's not because she looks old. She's obviously a very beautiful actress. It's just the way she carries herself. She has such poise and maturity, and dignity that she's able to bring to this role. And you would assume that she's just this experienced 40-something-year-old actress.
A tough role to execute too.
Absolutely. Fragility and balancing fragility and strength in multiple facets. It's the kind of role that's nearly impossible to cast well. And they were able to pull it off. So I would agree with you that I really think she's the best part of this movie, along with Adam Driver, who predictably does an excellent job.
He's putting together quite the resume.
He really is. He's incredibly busy. This man, in the last 5 years, has been just absolutely, I don't know, prolific.
And we're gonna be talking about him in just over a month. Like in 5 weeks, we're gonna be talking about him again in House of Gucci.
Yeah. It's we're looking at potentially 2 noms for 2 different movies this year for Adam Driver, which is
if they
wild.
can campaign him in supporting for this movie, you can see it.
Which would be just interesting to see. I'm not taking a stance on whether or not he should win, because we have a lot of movies to see this fall, but absolutely magnificent in this role. Now, as for Mr. Damon and Mr. Affleck,
let's talk about them. Let's
talk about them. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense to say that I'm just generally tired of Matt Damon.
Wow, really?
Does that make sense?
To me, no, because I love Matt Damon, and I don't think he does not have. He is not bad in any movie. He has bad movies, but he is not bad in any of them.
Okay.
And honestly, to me, he doesn't even have that many bad movies. Like, he's one of the most consistent actors to me.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
No, that's all it is I'm just tired of him.
He is in a lot of stuff.
It's nothing. He has a lot of good stuff. I'm just a little exhausted by him, but he's really not. Really not the point I'm getting at. Affleck. I'm reading all these reviews that say Affleck is absolutely phenomenal in this, and I'm just like, obviously Affleck is kind of in a limited number of scenes in this film, but I'm just kind of sitting there like, I don't know if he's like phenomenal. I really think he found his way into the movie because he was a co-screenwriter with Damon. That seems like the only reasonable explanation to me, and he felt like he had to be attached.
Yeah. I'll say we are lucky that his character is used sparingly, mostly in that second act.
Yeah.
Because that character is kind of a beating when he's on screen, just because of the way he carries himself.
Right.
The character, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I think Affleck is good at doing it because we're obviously not supposed to like this guy. That's made very clear. So he certainly does that because I did not like that character. So I think he's good. We certainly do not need more of him, and we probably could have used a little less. He just does weird stuff. Yeah,
he's just. I just don't know about that casting, and I know he probably like casted himself, right? But
oh, absolutely.
I just don't. Yeah, it's just strange. It's just weird. Matt Damon. Here's the thing: Matt Damon plays a character that I would expect Matt Damon to play, and he does a good job with it. It was just almost so expected that I'm a little tired of it. but to me, Ben Affleck just seems so obviously forced in there that it's just
he just needs to direct more stuff.
He does. He does.
Needs to take a break from acting and just go direct more movies like Argo, and because he clearly has an eye for it.
He does. And it's like I'm not going to be so quick to say that he's like an egomaniac, because he's not. Like, he knows how to get behind the camera. He knows how to make something good with other actors. But it's like, why would you attach yourself to something like this if you know that it's a role that you probably shouldn't be taking on? I think he does know it's a role he's not supposed to be taking on. But what's interesting about the screenplay is, as I mentioned, it was co-written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and this lady, Nicole Holofcener.
Is that
who's written some stuff.
What else has she done? Is that
she co-wrote Can You Ever Forgive Me from 2018 with Melissa McCarthy. That's the only one of note, really.
Interesting.
She spent a lot of time.
I wonder if she had ties to this story, or if she brought it to them. Anyway,
I'm not sure. But anyway, I just think it's interesting that after 20 plus years, Affleck and Damon finally reunite as co-writers following Good Will Hunting, and they go for this sort of story.
Yeah.
It just seems out of left field, taking place in 14th century France. Yeah, let's go for this. This is spiritually similar to Good Will Hunting. Let's go for this. And really, it was if you read kind of the production history, it was based on this book, this historical book about this story, these characters, and it's based on a true story. And so what comes with that territory is imagining all these 14th century characters talking to each other. And that's very hard to do when you don't live in the 14th century. It's incredibly hard to imagine what conversation sounded like back then. especially in France, because they should really be speaking French. But
Yeah.
you know that. But what I'm getting at is this kind of star power takes away from kind of what the movie is going for. It seems that's what I'm really saying about Damon and Affleck being in the film. You see them and it takes you out of it. Whereas Adam Driver, who at this point is a extremely reputable, famous actor, is able to absorb us into the story. I believed every clip of Driver's performance. I believed every clip of Comer's performance because she's relatively unknown. But it's very rare that something like this happens to me when I'm watching a movie. But the star power kind of took me out of it.
Yeah, I would definitely say for Affleck, I see that character and I think, oh, that's Ben Affleck. Not every part of Damon, but I understand exactly what you are saying. There are times where I'm like, oh, that's Matt Damon. It's not what was his name? Jean de Couras. I definitely butchered that, but yeah, you're right. It's Matt Damon sometimes instead of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, that could be an issue. To me, this movie probably doesn't get made if they're not acting in it as well.
Right.
Because it's just so it's such an interesting story, like niche, and I just doubt it gets made. They wrote it, so I suppose that has some credibility, but
right.
I think with them acting in it, it gets made. But tell me some of your other likes and dislikes aside from acting / the cast.
Well, I'll tell you, I loved the story structure of this movie.
Yeah, that's the shiner.
That is the shiner. It's actually a story structure that I have thought about for a long time.
Oh, nice, good.
And I was almost angry when I saw it because I was like, well, that's been done now, because I thought it was an original idea. But this idea of you open the film with this big event, right? And then you watch, and then the 3 acts that follow are essentially the same movements in time, but they follow 3 different characters, 3 different perspectives leading up to the event that you saw at the beginning. And then you see the event again, the duel, and you see how that's resolved. That is the story structure that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to start a movie with like a bombing or something, and then you follow a cop, you follow innocent bystander, and then you follow the terrorist who set off the bomb or whatever, and you tie it all together. It's a really interesting way to make a movie, and they stole my damn idea. But I'm not too angry about it because it works really well. It's really cool. And I like that we're almost able to elicit some amount of sympathy for each of these characters. Less so for Driver's character, Legreese.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think focusing on each character fleshes them out really interestingly versus a traditional storyline where we primarily see character development through the lens of back and forth conversations. Yeah, with the main character. So I thought it was a really interesting way to do it. That was my main praise. As I mentioned before, I think Ridley Scott did an excellent job with the cinematography of this thing. A lot of the shots of the French countryside during the winter.
That's great.
Really absorbs you into the story. And excellent score as well. I really enjoyed the score for whatever reason. Harry Gregson Williams. But yeah, that's kind of the big points. What were you really into about this movie?
Yeah. I mean, you talked about it, but that narrative structure is what really carries this movie. you see a lot of movies open with part 1 or chapter 1. I think they said chapter. Chapter?
Yeah.
Yeah, chapter. Okay. And to start, that didn't really mean too much because I don't know. You can always, it could still be linear. And then we pick up in chapter 2, and it says from the perspective of Legree. And I looked at my friend and I thought, oh my gosh, this is genius. And I thought they're going to start from the beginning, and then it opens up with that, literally one of the first shots of the movie, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And that general idea and the way that it is done is great. It's phenomenal. It does get slightly predictable, which I don't know if you can avoid that anyway. So I don't even know if that's a criticism. But as I'm watching it from Legree's perspective, I'm kind of, and even what is Lady Maritine? How do I say that name? Marguerite. Lady Marguerite. Yes. Watching it from the second and third perspective, or second and third person, you know what's coming, obviously, and you even know based on who you're watching it from, you know what's going to be said at times, how it's going to be said, which it can get slightly long because of that, but I don't think it detracts from the movie at all. I still liked everything that was being displayed on screen.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it's an issue for me. I'm more so just pointing it out, I guess. If I have an issue, it's that, I guess, but I still think it works superbly. I thought it was awesome, and really smart to do it that way.
Yeah.
Leading with you mentioned it too. Leading with the duel is really cool as well.
Yeah.
We know who's fighting. It's Adam Driver and Matt Damon. And then we pick up and they're friends, and we gotta learn how they get there. That's really smart.
Yeah.
Those decisions just show that Ridley Scott knows how to make a movie. And we have a competent director at the helm, and good actors to pair him with, and you get a good product. So yeah, I was very, very happy with what I got on screen.
Now shifting thematically into this movie, I think the other point of strength to it is kind of what the movie is saying about power structures and really relationships between men and women is kind of what it comes down to. Essentially, the pivotal point of the movie, you could say, is Matt Damon's character is so enthralled with the concept of honor for himself and for his wife, but you could say that maybe his wife is a piece of the public perception of his honor. So really that's really what sells the film for me is this idea of perhaps both of these men involved in the duel are doing things for the wrong reasons. Perhaps Driver is doing this for the wrong reasons because he knows he's guilty, and Damon is doing this for the wrong reasons, simply because it's not really about his wife, and it never was.
Not at all.
And I think that is a societal critique that works incredibly well for the film, and I think it's powerful enough to justify making a movie like this, because it has everlasting relevance, and that's the key to making a good period piece movie, is something that that has messages that transcend ages.
Yeah, the way that 14th century is portrayed is really effective as well. We kind of see the status of everyone, of all the characters that we know, displayed really nicely. You get a good idea of where everyone sits, whether that be male, female, what class you're in terms of economic status, and so on.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it too, but the fight, it's so funny because at the end, like you said, they're fighting for it's so not what they should be fighting for, that it's almost, you could tell me there's, and I did not say this, so I can't take credit for this. I read this, but you could tell me that it's two monkeys fighting over a banana, and I'd believe you, because they're fighting for the wrong reason in every regard.
Yeah.
And the only person fighting for what is right is Lady Marguerite, Jody Comer's character, and she really has no say in the matter. And that's what's so frustrating about this movie is there's parts that are like, I actually was laughing out loud in the theater of just how ridiculous society was, and how it deemed all of its reasonings and such.
Yeah. I thought in that regard, it's almost an anti medieval piece. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You talk about like an anti-Western or something like that, where the main character is an anti-hero or something. This is an anti kind of medieval jousting epic, because it flips the script on this classicist idea of what is nobility and what is noble, and we have a good guy and we have a bad guy, and we have someone who we want to win. And that's the reason I had hesitations about this movie, is because I thought it would be, the latter. I thought it would be, Damon's the good guy, and
it really subverts your expectations.
Driver is the evil rapist who needs to be killed. And the nice thing about that, the nice thing about what the movie does, is it doesn't take away, it doesn't sugarcoat Driver's actions. In fact, that rape scene is incredibly brutal, incredibly hard to watch.
That one was that is really tough to watch. I actually was sitting in the theater thinking, oh my gosh, this is like,
this is going on a little long, don't you?
I didn't think we would have gotten this much, and
yeah,
wow, it was very difficult to watch.
Yeah, I mean, in the trailer, it's just like, it's very subtle. He just invites himself in and shuts the door behind him.
Yeah,
and that's really all you needed. But it really goes into that, and Scott is really trying to hammer home the horror of the situation.
Yeah, and we see the aftermath of it too,
and the aftermath and the psychological impact that has on Lady Marguerite. But the other thing about it, it doesn't stray away from the horror of the rape. It also doesn't cast Damon as a hero. It's not at all. It's an incredibly tragic situation altogether, and tragedy very often imitates life. And I was impressed with how nuanced the movie handled that entire situation. I think it was very gutsy of the movie. I think it was very ambitious, and I'm impressed by it.
Yeah, you're right, because you go into this movie and you watch the first and most of the second act, and you think, yeah, Matt Damon's the good guy here. He's the protagonist, and then you get into that third act, and he is clearly not the protagonist. That honor shifts to Lady Marguerite. She is she is the only person we are really rooting for, which results us to, in the titular moment, also root for Matt Damon, but only for her, which is great too. It really it sets something up to be true, and then kind of tells you, hey, this isn't true. This is what actually, this is what you should be rooting for, not this.
Right.
So yeah, I think you said this word earlier, but a lot of maturity went into that decision.
Yeah, definitely.
And awareness. Yeah. I guess Sam, let's just let's talk about the ending and then get into some star ratings, unless you have anything else.
No, let's do it.
Final battle. I should say I think a lot of the other war scenes were choreographed quite well and seemed realistic, albeit short. Probably because they were very expensive, but
sure.
You tell me, Sam, how did you like the final battle? Was it suspenseful enough for you, or?
I liked it. We finally came to the last duel, the titular last duel. But what's most interesting about this is, you have the two of them jousting, and Damon kind of gets stabbed in the leg, and then he kind of he ends up taking Legree down to the ground, and he asks Legree to confess to the rape and everything, and Legree, even though he knows he's about to die, refuses to admit to it. And what's so interesting about that is then Damon goes ahead and stabs him in the mouth.
Yeah, which again, because the way they see it, him dying is him admitting to it as well. So it is kind of a interesting.
It's a very interesting symbolic choice.
Yeah.
Stabbing him in the mouth, and I just think it's so counterintuitive that you would know that you're about to be killed, and you refuse to admit to a crime that you're guilty of, which, yeah,
it's funny. It's if Driver admits to the crime, he will be killed. If Driver is killed, he admits to the crime. It's more just which do you want to do first?
Yeah, it's the Monty Python witch thing. Actually, that wasn't even Monty Python. That was just the Salem witch trials in general. If they drowned, well, you knew they weren't a witch. So
yeah,
but it's very similar to that, and it plays into your point earlier about how absolutely preposterous 14th century France was.
I really cracked up when they were having the trial scene and somebody just blurted out, "That's just science." It was a really serious scene with a lot of political undertones, and I thought, man, is this real? And I thought, yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder if Damon and Affleck inserted that for comic relief or not.
They could have. Yeah,
it's really hard to tell because this movie really doesn't need comic relief. It's just not that type of tone. But
no, it's pretty grim. Yeah,
I don't know. What are your kind of final thoughts about the ending?
Yeah, I thought the end battle was awesome. I thought it lived. I mean, we're here for that battle. Essentially, we're here for that duel.
Right.
So that really has to work. And like I said earlier, showing a little bit at the beginning, that works. And then obviously we see the whole thing at the end, and the battle was awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And a satisfying conclusion too. I know it's history, so that's what happened, but
absolutely.
Yeah, good ending. Not going to be upset that he died in the Crusades a couple years later. Lady Marguerite and her son can live out their lives in happiness together. So
right.
That's perfect.
Wonderful.
One final thing, Sam. Whose child do you think it was?
Yeah, that's what's cool about it, right?
We don't know.
Well, not cool, but it's a cool plot element. Whose kid is it?
Kid was blonde. Kid was blonde.
The kid was blonde, but so is Lady Marguerite.
Yeah,
is your hair color inherited from your mom's side? Isn't that where it's from?
Well, my friends and I were debating this, and we had to break out the old Punnett squares.
Okay, good. It's
So-
not a night at the movies unless you break out the Punnett squares.
No, absolutely not. So dark hair is obviously the dominant trait, and blonde is the recessive. So Jody Comer, having blonde hair, has 2 blonde recessive genes. Adam Driver, dark hair, could have a blonde and a dark hair. So he could have that recessive. So it could be his kid still. And then obviously Matt Damon is blonde. So he has 2 recessives similar to Jody Comer. So it could be his kid too. So the Punnett squares led to a conclusion, which is not yet found. So.
Well, we'll just have to see how the kid grows up,
Yeah, exactly.
what kind of traits he takes on.
Yeah, there we go. So biology did not help me in this case, but when has it ever?
You failed us again. All right, wonderful. Should we get into some star ratings?
We can. Yeah. I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5. I ended up liking this movie a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm very appreciative of that. I think it's a solid film. Solid first outing for Ridley Scott this fall.
Yeah, we get to see him again this year too.
So yeah, that's spectacular. What are you giving it?
It's funny. I was looking through my list 2 weeks, week and a half ago, and I was like, man, in my top 10, it's almost all like big budget blockbusters. This is weird. Like my top 10s never look like this.
Right.
And then I finished this movie and I go, that's my favorite movie of the year.
Wow. Okay.
4 stars, man.
Absolutely. Wow.
I enjoyed the crap out of this, and this will end up in my top 10. I hope it doesn't, because that means we had an awesome conclusion to the year.
Right.
But yeah, 4 stars. Love this movie.
Wonderful.
And then Sam, let's get into a little weekly recommendations before we can discuss what we would like to do next week. We have a couple options.
Sure, absolutely. I do have a recommendation, and it's kind of strange. It's kind of out there. But this summer, I had a boss. I had multiple bosses this summer. Part of the thing about being your own boss, owning a major corporation and everything, is that you kind of miss being bossed around. You hate making all the decisions, so you pick up some side hustles to, just fill that urge. One of my bosses recommended this obscure folk singer from Iowa named Greg Brown, prominent in the 80s and 90s. He's very much in the style of almost a more cynical John Prine, perhaps. And I've just been digging deep into his stuff, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Just really witty poetry, and it's my kind of sound. So maybe it's not for everyone, but he literally has an album called the Iowa Waltz. It's really something. Very wholesome. So I've been listening to a lot of Greg Brown lately, so I'm going to recommend
Greg Brown,
not to be confused with the up and coming NBA prospect.
That's what went to my mind. But...
oh no! Now he's on the Trailblazers. Okay. Oh my God, I'm older than him. That's weird.
We're getting old, Sam. We're getting up there.
That's a little scary. All right. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Recommends, Will.
I see a Greg C. Brown. Is that not it? Just Greg Brown?
It's literally just Greg Brown.
Okay.
I think.
Dream Cafe, is that an album?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dream Cafe is a phenomenal album.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Yeah, recommendation. I'm going to recommend a docu-series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us. If you're into like 80s, like mid 80s to early 90s movies and how they're made, then this is literally the series that was made for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm only 3 episodes in, but I'm really enjoying it. Mostly, so like Back to the Future, Die Hard, Ghostbusters, Home Alone. So those are just kind of some examples.
Yeah,
just kind of outlines how they were made. Most of them have some kind of crazy, like, what, this wasn't about to, this almost didn't get made type story.
Cool.
Yeah, fun to see. A lot of the cast and crew return to give interviews, and just easy watch. Put it on the background, about 40 minutes an episode, and oddly kind of emotional too. I mean, these are 80s and 90s movies, so a lot of the cast and crew have since passed. Like the Home Alone episode, John Hughes is no longer with us, and I was like, am I about to start crying? So
I'm feeling for John Hughes right now.
Yeah. But yeah, the movies that made us on Netflix. Season 3 just came out, so I got to catch up. About 4 to 6 episodes a season too. So it's not too bad.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
That looks great.
We'll
We'll have to check that out.
Yes, and Sam, next week on October 22nd, this coming Friday, we have 2 movies releasing. We have Dune and The French Dispatch.
Ooh.
I'm thinking we do Dune this week and The French Dispatch next week, but Sam,
That sounds good to me. That sounds perfect.
Okay.
I think we do Dune this week. Yeah, that would be we're very excited for it.
Yeah.
I know a few people who want to accompany me to the theater for this one, and I'm like, all these Dune fans coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
Dune
no
fans,
kidding.
air quotes. But yeah, we're.
Oh, Sam, they've all read the book.
They've all read the book. Lord of the Rings, Dune, man.
Dune. Yeah,
I've always been into Dune.
Well, you loved the David Lynch Dune when you were a kid. You watched it almost every week.
I do. I have these repressed memories of David Lynch beating me over the head for watching it, but I enjoyed it all.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So we'll do Dune next week. But until then, Sam, where can I find you on Letterboxd?
If you're looking, you can find me on letterboxd.com/sjdierberger. And where can I find you, Will Spalding?
You can find me on Letterboxd at just that, Will Spalding. You can find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds and thosefilmnerds.weebly.com and Those Film Nerds on all podcast platforms and such. But Sam, until Dune next week.
Keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.